Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat?
I did want to take this moment to dip the toe back into the water of the New Orleans Saints. The coaching search. That's what we're all interested in now with the New Orleans Saints, is the coaching search. Told you in the open of the show, when we recapped the Raiders game, the one thing that showed you is it's not going to be Darren Rizzi at this point. You can't lose 34-0 on the road at Green Bay and then follow that up losing by 15 on your home field to a 3-win team. That can't happen in order for you to get the full-time head coaching job. So it won't be Darren Rizzi. Who will it be? Well, over the weekend, Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissero, over there at NFL Media, they had a report that Saints GM Mickey Loomis will hire a coach that, quote, he knows, end quote. Mickey Loomis knows a lot of people. But there are three candidates that should jump off the page to you immediately, and we'll get into those momentarily. I think where this should start is the discussion of, is this a good idea? It doesn't matter if it's a good idea. It doesn't matter what I say right here. It doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what anybody else covering the team thinks. It doesn't matter what national. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what Mickey Loomis thinks, and Mickey Loomis is going to hire a coach that he knows. So really, while I want to start here, it just doesn't matter. I, for one, am in the camp that want the Saints to continue to cut ties with the past era as much as they can and start anew. I understand this isn't a flip of the light switch, pull a rabbit out of a hat magic that's going to happen immediately and they're going to be contenders in 2025. They're not. The Saints are not going to be contenders in 2025. I don't care who they hire. They're not going to be contenders in 2025, neither 2026. They got a lot of work to undo to rebuild. So I get it. It's going to be a slow process. But what I would hope in doing that is you continue to distance yourself from what puts you in this process. And when I hear Mickey Loomis say that when I hear the report from sources close to Mickey Loomis that he's going to hire a coach that, one, he knows, that tells me they're not going to distance themselves from the past. Except for maybe one guy that we'll get into. But chances are it's going to be somebody from the Sean Payton tree, from the era of most success with the New Orleans Saints. And look, I'm not sitting here and saying that just because you're part of the past era, you can't come in and have success. Of course you can. There's two in particular we're going to talk about, Aaron Glenn, Joe Brady, who would be first-time head coaches. Maybe they are the next great one. And you go that route and it hits. Maybe. And all this conversation is for naught. And you know what? You went back to the well of the golden era of the franchise and it worked. Maybe that's what happens. Maybe you continue to toil away in this mediocrity that you're in right now. There's risk in every hire that's going to happen. But when there's proven candidates out there that aren't part of the past, like a Mike Vrabel, for instance, I'd love to see you make a serious run at him. You don't have any connection to him. That's fine. You don't have to. Interview him. If you don't like him, don't hire him. When you have such a hot commodity like a Ben Johnson, and you know what? You probably won't get him because your job isn't that desirable. But man, that guy's got a, connection to the Saints by proxy, working with Dan Campbell all these years. That's the part I just struggle with. So, when I saw the report, the first thing, actually, I posted this on my Instagram story. I posted the report on there, and the caption was, Aaron Glenn, come on down, with 2 laughing emojis, because it makes the most sense. Aaron Glenn, of course, on Sean Payton's staff, 2016 to 2020, he was the defensive backs coach. They enjoyed incredible success. Look at the guys he had a hand in developing. Further development of Marshawn Lattimore, Marcus Williams, Von Bell, all those guys that went on to get second contracts and do very good things in the NFL. The Saints' secondary in those years was shut down. It was locked down. C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Like, it was a no-fly zone. What he's done in Detroit from a defensive standpoint, they've been great, especially pass rush. He's familiar with what the Saints want to do defensively. Obviously working under Dennis Allen, a model that had so much success for so long, and that second wave of the Saints being arguably the best franchise in the NFL. They just couldn't get over the hump and win the Super Bowl. I mean, the skins on the wall speak for themselves. When you look at the fit, I mean, it doesn't get any better. The guy's been here. He played in New Orleans in 2008. What's been your biggest issue this year besides injury? Your defense is stunk. You got to fix that. That guy can do it. Like, all of that makes a lot of sense. The issue is first-time head coach, and even though it's not a retread hire because he's a first-time head coach, it kind of feels like it, though, doesn't it? For everything else that we just laid out. Look, if the Saints want to hire Aaron Glenn, I would endorse that hire. I would. It's not my first choice, but I would endorse the hire. I think that would be a good pickup for New Orleans. They're going to be patient with whoever they get. And I think Aaron Glenn has now seen it done a couple different ways. And I like that aspect. Not my first choice, but I would be in favor of the hire. Maybe endorse isn't the right word. No one's asking for my endorsement. I would be in favor of it. The other is Joe Brady. And with Joe Brady, I mean, the Bills are arguably the best offense in the NFL this season. Maybe outside of the Lions, they are. They're top 10 in every category you could want to be. They're number 2 in scoring. And it's, yes, you have a great quarterback in Josh Allen, something you would not have in New Orleans. I understand that. There is familiarity there with Brady, although it's not nearly as deep as it would be with a guy like Aaron Glenn. And there's a lot more risk, I believe, in that hire. Learning under Sean McDermott is admirable. The job he's done calling plays. When, yes, you have Josh Allen, but Josh Allen has really, quite honestly, his worst complement of weapons so far that he's had since he's been in Buffalo. Joe Brady's done an incredible job. I just find more risk in that one than I would. It's first-time head coach, just like Aaron Glenn, but I find more risk in that one. But that's the other name to really kind of watch that stands out, that's going to get interviews. Like, Joe Brady's getting calls this offseason, y'all, from a lot of people because of the job he's done in Buffalo. One more wild card. He's got a job right now. But he does have ties to the Saints. He was the offensive coordinator from 2000 to 2005. Mickey Loomis got to New Orleans in 2000, took over GM in 2002. That's Mike McCarthy. Taylor, do you think the Cowboys are going to fire Mike McCarthy this season?
I do not. Not now. No.
Okay. So that's the caveat, right? Mike McCarthy has to come available. I would actually really be in favor of a Mike McCarthy hire, provided you could put the right pieces around him. Jerry Jones has not done that in Dallas. They did that in Green Bay, and it resulted in a Super Bowl. That's a coach with a Super Bowl pedigree who has ties to the Saints, but not the golden era. He's familiar with New Orleans, Super Bowl. Love that. Great offensive mind still. The problem is putting the right pieces around him, and I don't know if I have faith in the New Orleans front office to do that because the way they've handled this roster has been irresponsible, quite honestly, as of late. Trying to hang on to something that just isn't there. Sensing a theme in this whole conversation? But if Dallas parts ways with Mike McCarthy and you can get him, I'm fully in favor of that. Because he also brings a knowledge to the draft room, right? where he knows what he's looking for his system. First and foremost, you're going to have to get a quarterback. You're going to have to get in cap compliance more than just kicking the can down the road for one season. It's a long rebuild. The Saints are a patient organization, and that serves them very well. So whoever they hire is going to have a long leash, is going to have time. Hell, they gave Dennis Allen 2.5 years. 2.5 years more than they should have. But when I hear a coach he knows, forgive me, I'm a little bit more cautious there, considering we just got done with that. And when you hired Sean Payton, there wasn't any ties. Look how that turned out. I'd be in favor of going after the next Sean Payton and not the comfortable hire, the soft search the coach. We'll see what they do. Well, I already told you. Hire somebody else.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.